How do you build a billion-dollar company? Not just a successful business, but one so valuable that industry giants have to buy it. Today, I'm sitting down with the founder and former CEO of Morphic Therapeutic, who sold his company for $3.2 billion to Big Pharma, Eli Lilly. Let's break down what it really takes.
Always interested in the acquisition side and how the challenges and how you overcame them and what you did that you felt was different than maybe other leaders and how you kind of pulled everyone together. Seemed like you have a great leadership style.
So I was considered one of the founders of the company, and so been running it for 9 years. We started it from scratch. So essentially picked all the drug targets. We assembled the science, assembled the management team. And I think I wrote a talk on this actually, that I think one of the interesting things about Morphic is that within about a year and a half of founding the company, year and a half to have founded the company, strategics were kind of hovering around Morphic, from the get-go, right? And we were always negotiating something with some strategics. So we did some big deals early on, but I think more important than that, I think what the sort of the topic of my talk was, how do you become irresistible to an acquirer, right? And to me, and I was sort of trying to, I guess what's the best way to put it? I was actually trying to reverse engineer Morphic, like in the sense that, was it just luck, right? Was it, did we do something in particular? How come, strategics were always hovering around Morphic, right? And I think it's because, first of all, we're a small molecule company. If you're not familiar with pharmaceuticals at all, small molecule company is a chemistry-based company. So it's a kind of technology that at some level pharma is very good at, right? So it's not like this very new fangled technology like a gene therapy or something like that really nobody knows anything about. Chemistry is something that pharmaceutical companies are very good at, right? And probably, you'd say they're world class in at some level. So, if you're going to start a small molecule, a chemistry company, and compete against the big pharmaceutical companies, you need something different, right? And you need something special. And what I think of is when people look at Morphic, I think what obviously the science is good, and we had some certain enabling technologies, but really it came down to the people, right? Because I think what big pharma saw in Morphic is a better version of themselves. And I say that because when they look at you, if they see something different, right, then they're not interested, right? Because that difference looks kind of foreign to them, right? But what they saw in Morphic, because have you ever heard of A/B testing?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So actually in biotech, we've never heard of A/B testing because that's a tech term, right? But I always kind of say that in some ways, Morphic is kind of the best biotech pharma A/B testing. And the reason I say that is because we were physically in the AstraZeneca offices, right? So we rented a few labs in the AstraZeneca offices. And then like I told you, in lots of ways, we were doing things very similar to how pharma does it. We were doing small molecule drug discovery. We were doing it in a structure-based drug discovery manner. We were going after a cell surface receptor target. And so, a lot of the things, and we're physically housed in the same place as a big pharma. And a lot of the people were even somewhat fungible, right? Because people came from AstraZeneca to us, right? So that's why I say we're kind of the perfect A/B testing, in that really the only thing different, than us, than big pharma, is we were much, much faster. We sort of hired the best people, and we were much faster. And that's actually what pharma recognized. That's why in some ways, we were kind of irresistible to them, right? And they were always hovering around us because they knew something good was going to come out of Morphic eventually, right? Because they literally liked the people, they liked the approach, they liked how we did things, they liked how fast we were. And so I think that was kind of the Morphic secret sauce.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So the secret sauce is hiring the best people out there, get things done a lot faster. When you mention faster, what specifically do you mean by that? I know there's a lot that can go on on the chemistry side, and I'm not as familiar, but what specifically did faster mean for Morphic?
Mostly it's so there's some technology differences for sure in the crystallography and the structure-based drug discovery, but and the biology too. But a lot of it is actually the decision making, right? Because interestingly, and how fast we move, right? Because for example, Liang Su, who was our head of biology, she said this later, when one of the pharmas was doing due diligence, she said she came from Merck. And she said when she was doing kind of her diligence on Morphic, when she was interviewing here, she saw our timelines and said, like, no way, impossible, right? He said, Merck wouldn't have even started a program in that time frame, right? And then like 6, 8 months later, she was like, maybe this is possible, right? Because when you're a small team, kind of working very closely together, all those things that in a big company are these formal presentations that you give every 2 weeks, going up in the various governances, stuff like that. Those are all kind of happening on the fly, you know what I mean? And so I think that actually is probably the bigger determinant of speed than a real technology advantage.
That's amazing. So being able to make better decisions faster, not having as much, maybe too much structure in the organization that it could affect quicker, better decision making.
That's right.
Yes.
And no, and just the ability to get people to, I mean, you sort of underestimate these things, but just the ability to get people together. Like for example, we got bought by Lilly, right?
Yes.
And I'm not there, but I'm talking to the folks that are still there, which is most of them. And when they say, "Hey, I want to get together with you," the person on the Lilly side says, "Okay, great. I have an appointment in November." Or something like that, and so it's like, it's not like, okay, let's meet at 2 o'clock, right? Just meet outside your office, that kind of thing, right? And so it's just a huge difference in just being able to get people together.
That's really amazing and great for even others to realize, like, some of this basic stuff that could get in the way of a huge conglomerate can maybe hurt innovation.
Oh, for sure, huge.
So that,
it just takes so long.
Well, congratulations to you on really being that leader that realized these things and kind of seems like pushed your team to operate in this manner.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like, I mean, in the early days, actually, it's on. I assume it's still there. I think I wrote over 100 articles on Medium about culture because I wanted to kind of impregnate the culture in this kind of very nimble, fast, data-driven sort of way. And so, I as we got bigger, I stopped doing it. But for the first, couple of years, I spent a lot of time talking about culture, writing about culture, making sure we hire the right people and stuff like that. And the good news is, in some ways, it's somewhat cliche, but it sort of did work. Like, it sort of, although I stopped doing it because I got busy and started doing other things, it sort of fed on itself. Like, once you hired the right people with the culture, they hired people, and we just end up with a really, a high quality organization that I think everyone sort of appreciated.
I love that you have that strong belief of, it seems like, hiring exceptional talent. And that's like a trickle effect because, like you just said, you hire a great high performer, an exceptional person, exceptional leader. That's going to, do you believe it attracts other
absolutely
high performers? The right team members would be attracted to that.
Totally. The right team member get attracted to that. And we've had a few instances where I remember there's one person who actually she was doing fine. Actually, she was doing fine. We liked her and stuff like that. But she just felt that the place was too high intensity for her, right? Yeah. And so she sort of self-checked out, saying that, like, yeah, I'm going to go back to my previous employer, right? So it does both work positively and sort of weeds out the people that aren't right for that culture.
So basically, like, repels the ones that are not in alignment with this high performance culture. They're like, hey, it's just not the right fit for me. And they respect the culture, but they just say, hey, it's just not the right fit.
It's just not for me, right? Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'm so happy that you shared that because I also feel very strongly about it's the people in the organization that attract the right people to your team and kind of set the tone for how things can get done so much more efficiently. Thank you. And I really appreciate you sharing all of this.
Perfect. All right, Rita.